Master, as we delve deeper into the Sankara school of Vedanta, how did Sankara reconcile the contradictory passages in the Upanishads? Some texts suggest a real creation, while others claim only Brahman exists.
He introduced a brilliant hermeneutic distinction. He stated that the scriptures speak from two perspectives, Vyavaharika, the practical, common-sense view of a real world, and Paramarthika, the ultimate philosophical truth.
So, the descriptions of a creator God are merely practical?
Precisely. From the ultimate perspective, Brahman alone is the reality. The world of duality, of creators and creations, is ultimately false, a mere appearance that vanishes when true knowledge dawns.
This distinction of two truths sounds suspiciously like what we studied in Buddhism. Did Nagarjuna use this method?
Yes, deeply so. Nagarjuna taught that Buddha preached via Samriti Satya, truth veiled by everyday ignorance, and Paramartha Satya, the ultimate truth.
How did Nagarjuna define the everyday world?
He argued that everything in the world is interdependent. Because nothing exists in and of itself, everything is essenceless. The world holds together practically, but philosophically, it is a phantom creation, like a mirage or a dream.
Did Gaudapada and Sankara adopt this Buddhist dream analogy for the waking world?
They did. Gaudapada argued that just as dream travel is proven false upon waking, our waking experiences are equally false because they involve the same illusory duality of subject and object.
But isn't there a difference between Vedanta and Buddhist nihilism?
A massive one. Nagarjuna claimed there is no basis of truth anywhere, all is void. Sankara insisted that every illusion requires a firm basis. You cannot mistake a rope for a snake without the rope. Brahman is the unchanging rope underlying the world illusion.
If the world is an illusion on Brahman, what exactly is the stuff this illusion is made of?
Sankara vaguely called it avidya, or ignorance. But his disciple Padmapada, in his Panchapadika, clarified that it is a positive power, a material stuff, Jadhyatmika avidya shakti.
So ignorance is a substance?
In a philosophical sense, yes. It is an indefinable entity residing in the transcendent self. It arrests the revelation of Brahman and simultaneously transforms itself into the subjective mind and the objective universe.
Let us shift to epistemology. How does Vedanta view the act of cognition compared to the Buddhists?
The Sautrantika Buddhists view cognition pragmatically. Knowledge is a momentary flash, valid only if it accurately guides us to fulfill a practical desire. They focus on the swalakshana, the raw, momentary sense datum.
And Vedanta?
Vedanta asks, is cognizing an act or a fact? They conclude that pure consciousness is an unchangeable, non-temporal fact. It is pure revelation. The objects change, the mental states change, but the light of awareness remains eternally identical with itself.
What about the Buddhist idealists, the Yogi-Ras? Didn't Vasubandhu claim the external world doesn't exist at all?
Yes. Vasubandhu argued that we only ever come into touch with our own ideas. He used the rule of Sahopalambha Niyama. Since the object and the awareness of the object are always experienced simultaneously, they are identical.
So a physical jug is just an idea of a jug?
Exactly. He argued that atomic combinations are logically impossible. The world is a projection of subconscious instincts, vasana. Like a dream, the mind splits itself into the false duality of a perceiver and the perceived.
If everything is just consciousness, how do the Yogi-Ras explain the vast complexity of our minds?
They posit the alaya vijnana, the repository consciousness. It undergoes 3 grades of transformation. The first is sixpaka, an indeterminate basic change holding the seeds of all instincts.
And the next stage is?
The second is manana, where the illusion of the ego and self-love arises. The third is sikshaya vignapti, which generates concrete sense perceptions. These three streams constantly act and react upon one another like ripples on an ocean.
How did Sankara refute this powerful Buddhist idealism? Didn't he also believe the world was an illusion?
Yes, but Sankara argued fiercely against subjective idealism. He stated that our very awareness proves it is distinct from the object. You are aware of a pillar, but the awareness is not the pillar itself.
What about the Buddhist argument of simultaneous perception?
Sankara countered that taking two things simultaneously proves they are two, not one. Awareness of blue and awareness of yellow share the same constant awareness, but the objects vary. Therefore, the objects are extraneous to the one constant consciousness.
If the Buddhists believe everything is momentary, how do they explain memory or recognizing oneself over time?
The Buddhists argue that recognition is a false construct made of two separate momentary concepts, the past memory and the present awareness. There is no permanent soul connecting them.
How does Vedanta respond to that?
Vedanta argues that the feeling, I am the same person who experienced pleasure yesterday, cannot be explained by two isolated, momentary sparks. Recognition demands a permanently existing self. While pure consciousness has no memory, the self associated with the mind remembers and recognizes.
Why does Vedanta insist that this self, this consciousness, is self-luminous?
If consciousness required another consciousness to be known, it would cause a vicious infinite regress. Furthermore, no one ever doubts their own experience. When you see a book, you don't need a second thought to prove you are seeing it.
So consciousness and the self are the same thing?
Exactly. Atman is Vijnana. The self is not merely the possessor of knowledge, as Nyaya claims, it is the pure, self-revealing light of knowledge itself, flashing without any intervening mechanical operation.
Moving to cosmology, how did Sankara defend his system against the Samkhya dualists?
Samkhya objected that a pure, intelligent Brahman could not be the material cause of a dead, impure, unintelligent world. The effect must resemble the cause.
That sounds logical. How did Sankara reply?
He pointed out that inanimate hair and nails grow from living bodies. Furthermore, when gold jewelry is melted down, its specific shapes do not pollute the pure gold. Similarly, the impure world dissolves into Brahman without staining its purity.
Wait, if Sankara believes the world is an illusion, why is he arguing about real physical transformations like melting gold or growing hair?
You have hit upon a great historical tension. The Brahma Sutras were originally written from a Parinama view, real transformation. Sankara had to comment on them. So, he often uses realistic arguments to satisfy the text, while stealthily injecting his Sixvata view, that it is all a magical illusion.
Does Sankara accept the Samkhya idea that the effect already exists in the cause?
Yes, he vigorously defends Satkaryavada against the Nyaya view of Asatkaryavada. He argues that curd comes from milk, not mud, because a specific potency exists in the milk. The effect is merely an expansion or elaboration of the cause.
If Brahman is perfect and complete, why create a universe filled with suffering? He has nothing to gain.
Sankara explains this using the analogy of Leela, or play. Just as a king who has everything might engage in a sport purely for spontaneous joy, Brahman projects the universe as a cosmic play.
So God is just playing a game with our suffering.
Sankara quickly adds his ultimate caveat, from the absolute point of view, there is no creation, and there is no suffering. It is all a fanciful appearance due to nescience.
Were there other ancient commentators on the sutras who disagreed with Shankara's pure monism?
Yes, several, like Bhartrai Prapancha and Bodhayana. They held the Bhaida Bhaida doctrine, identity indifference. They believed the soul and the physical world were real emanations from Brahman.
So they accepted both unity and diversity.
Yes. They believed that common experience vouches for diversity, and the Vedas vouch for unity. Therefore, ultimate truth is a combination, Dvaitar. Shankara fiercely attacked this, claiming identity and difference are mutually contradictory.
How did these philosophers view the actual practice of religion? Did they agree with the Mimamsa commands to perform sacrifices?
This was a major battleground. Mimamsa argued that salvation requires both knowledge and the strict performance of Vedic rituals. This is Jnanakarma Samukchaya.
And Shankara rejected this?
Absolutely. Shankara argued that rituals only purify the mind. Once purified, action must be abandoned. Salvation comes instantly from the realization of unity. Texts like, "That art thou." Action implies duality, which is ignorance.
But the scriptures say, "Thou shouldst listen to and meditate on the self." Isn't that a command to perform an action?
Later Vedantins debated this fiercely. Some called it an Apurva 60, a strict mandate. Others called it a Niyama 60, a guiding rule to prevent seekers from getting lost in wrong texts.
What did Vachaspati say?
Vachaspati Mishra argued that these are not true commandments. They are phrased as commands merely to emphasize the supreme importance of studying and discussing Vedanta to clarify the intellect.
Did Shankara's immediate disciples agree on how Masaya actually works?
Not at all. 4 distinct lines developed. Sureshwara saw Maya merely as a veil resting on Brahman. Vachaspati claimed Maya rests on the individual soul, creating a beginningless cycle of subjective illusions.
And the others?
Padmapada gave Maya more physical substance, granting it vibratory power to create the physical world. Meanwhile, Mandana hinted at extreme subjective idealism, where the individual soul literally dreams the world into existence.